All right, all right, all right. All right, baby. Welcome to the Gridiron, basically where we talk about how great our football Giants are, how much the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys blow. Man, I never get old of that stuff, man. Even if it ain't true. I love it. I just love saying this stuff. I said, welcome to the Gridiron. Maybe give this video a thumbs up or share this video. That'd be freaking awesome. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, if you could, please, that would be absolutely fantastic. Description box below, the very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. Second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level, I guess, called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I said, I thank you in advance. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, just a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link. Takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. My Facebook group. We have over 8,900 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing and if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff, but the members post stuff in this group too as well. So please, join the group. You won't be dissatisfied, I promise. And then finally, the link underneath it, it's a Twitter link. It's to my Twitter account. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. All right. Well, they wrapped up with practices number 2. It took a little while, apparently, for the fisticuffs to be flying. And they even ended it early. Apparently, I guess it was. I guess they did pretty good. I mean, because it wasn't until like the last, like whatever, I don't know, 15 minutes or so of the joint practice. That's when I think they said there was like 4 minor little scuffles, but then they wound up ending it early. I think it was like the last one. I think was when they started doing the kickoff drills, and hard to believe it. I guess the fisticuffs were flying on that too. And they decided to just end it right there. Because, I mean, it was just like the one thing, and Dan Campbell was, spot on. He was talking. It's the thing. It's you don't want nobody. You don't want fights. It's football, though. My temper's going to flare. I'm sure he's very proud of his guys. I'm sure Dable's very proud of his guys. They came to play football, and they weren't taking no SHI, what, right? Neither team get, So you got to tip your cap to both teams. It's not going to happen on Thursday because you're going to start getting penalties, and it certainly won't happen during the regular season if they're not going to play each other, but I mean in the playoffs or whatever. But because then guys will start getting fined, kicked out of the game, penalties, and all that stuff. And it's one thing to do it in a joint practice. Another thing to do it in preseason, because if you lose a preseason game, whoopie-doo, we lost a preseason game. You do it during the regular season, then you start costing your team. Or if you meet somebody in the playoffs and you wind up ending your season because you can't keep your cool. Not good at all. But Campbell, was rather spot on, might I add. I guess he was obviously a little disappointed or whatever, with the fighting. But the thing is that, you line up for a play, quarterback drops back to pass, whatever happens. Then there's a scuffle. You got to run in there, break the scuffle up, then you go over here. There's another scuffle over there. And break it up, and and the clock, as Chris Brown would go tick, 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 tick. You only got so much time out there. There's no, there ain't no ref out there. All right, we got official timeout. All right, we're gonna stop practice just for while the break. We got an hour and 45 minutes out here, but we got to fight, so we're gonna stop the clock, And when we break the fight up and everybody gets back to the huddles, I'm going to blow the whistle, and then we start the stopwatch again for practice. It keeps on ticking. There ain't no stopping. So, so to tell you, this is like what Campbell was talking about, which is, once again, spot on. Is you only got so much time, and you're trying to get certain things done, and it just gets very frustrating, annoying, whatever, when you can't even run a play without it lasting an additional 5 minutes because you got a scuffle going, or 3 minutes, whatever it is, because you got a scuffle going on. Yeah. So, you're losing very valuable time because they're only allowed to be out there so long. But, neither team, back down. You got like that. It'd be interesting to see how this carries over into the preseason game. Interesting to see what type of game time are we seeing from, hopefully, the first teamers. Right. I mean, because now we only have, obviously we have 3 preseason games, so a lot of the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth stringers, whatever, they got to get their playing time in. So obviously, obviously playing time would be limited, to for whatever starters do play. So I have to wait and see. Of course, now there's only obviously the 3 preseason games, but I mean, you get a lot of quality. You get some good information out of these joint practices. Now there were some unfortunately there's some on the defensive side, there were some like blown coverages and stuff like that. So some of that stuff they're going to have to shore up. But things are going to go bad, or they're going to screw some things up or whatever, right? Now's the time to do it, right? Not during the regular season. But once again, you got some new guys in there. You got some young guys in there. You got the new defensive system in there, defense coordinator, all that. Things are probably going to wind up happening. And so let's hope. But, I mean, the Lions had apparently just from what I'm hearing, they had a couple of nice long plays. They did very well. Paul Dottino was saying the Lions seem to do pretty well in the red zone today. They seem to be maybe a little bit better than the Giants were in the red zone today. But tell you what, boy, OBJ? Who's that? I don't know. Looks like there might be a new sheriff in town. What the heck was it? I think about if I read it right, I gotta read an article, but I think but Nabers, I think, was in these 2 joint practices. I think was thrown to 17 times. He caught 16 out of the 17 passes, something like that. And of course, kind of odd. It just goes to show you how just absolutely unbelievable, just childish some of these absolute morons are. I think the one that was incomplete actually, I think, started a fight. I mean, it goes to show you how it's just like it's like 2-year-old children out there, absolute babies, absolute pussies. Just unbelievable. There was the one, I forgot who, I guess maybe it was Daniel Jones, threw a pass into the end zone, if I remember correctly. Malik Nabers, the defender was good defensive play, and it got broken up. And Malik didn't come down with the ball, right? You tip your cap to the defender. And actually, I mean, to be honest, a couple of these plays, Malik Nabers going up there and snatching the ball. I mean, the defenders were there. It wasn't like he had 13 yards on the guy. I mean, the defenders were there. You tip your cap to them. I mean, but sometimes if the ball is just right or the guy is just such a dog or whatever, there's not much you can do about it. But I mean, quite a few of these catches I'm looking at, the joint defenders are there. But it's just this one. I think the ball was like behind him or something like that. It was in the end zone. I think it was. I think Malik it was like behind him or something like that. It got broken up. The defender was there. It was good coverage and everything like that. So, but I mean, I think he got thrown at 17 times, caught 16 out of the 17. Okay. So this 1 out of the 17 was incomplete. So Malik, gets up, and I think he said he tapped the guy on the head. I think he said afterwards to say something like, nice play or something like that. Now, I don't know if he meant it sarcastically or whatever, because he's been torching these guys for 2 days now. But, apparently he was like running back, or going back to the huddle, whatever. I think he said he tapped the guy in the helmet or something, I guess, to say nice play. But apparently some other guy came over and said something. Now, I don't know if that was in response to because he tapped the guy in the helmet, maybe. I don't know. But a guy came over, and once again, this is what Malik's. I don't know what the other guy said. Could have been something different. So, but Malik was going back. I think he said he tapped the guy in the helmet. From what he said, just mentioned maybe good play, dude, or something, whatever. And some other guy came over and said something to Malik. And Malik, it was at the press conference, and Malik said, I can't repeat what he said, So once again, I don't know. Did the guy see Malik tap the guy in the helmet, maybe? And it was like making fun, thought he may have making fun. I don't know. But it's like one incomplete pass. The guy's been torching you, and you got something to say. It's like, I mean, were you talking about his mama or something? It's like, man, you just keep your mouth shut, man. You caught 16 out of 17 passes on you. And some guy's coming over, and I think as Malik said, the guy came over and said something to him. So I can't repeat what he said, So he said, then it was on. So they were just throwing punches. Thankfully, he didn't throw a punch or something like that and break a finger, break a couple fingers, spraying a hand or something like that, because we need to bubble wrap that dude. You know what I mean? And just plop him on the bench, and we'll unwrap you opening day against the Vikings. We'll unleash you upon their secondary, and we'll see how well they do against you. But hopefully, But also something you like to see too is he's got that fire in him, right? He wants the ball. He's going to take no SHIT, right? Hopefully he does a little bit better job of controlling his attitude than OBJ did, because OBJ was just like against, was it Norman? That one, that was a great game too, really great game. But going up against the Panthers, But it's like, Norman would just give him a shove, and OBJ was just off like, Norman would just say something to him, and OBJ was get right back. He had like no self-control, nothing. He's on the sideline knocking the punting net over or whatever. Then the next week he runs over to, he proposes to the punting net, and it's like. So hopefully his mindset's a little bit better than, oops, sorry, buddy. My bad. My buddy Randy's underneath my legs there. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, pal. So hopefully, you want that fire, you want that dog, but sometimes you got to control some of it, right? But what we got here? This is from The Athletic. Hopefully, let's see. Giants Malik Nabers torches the Lions defensive backs. There's not a lot that I can't do, Malik said. Malik continues to check every box. You know what? I really, once again, we got a ways to go. We haven't even played a regular season game. All that stuff. But I'm starting to, really starting to lean toward picking the phone up and calling the Cardinals up and saying, thank you very much for picking Harrison Jr. Right? Really. But once again, we got a long way to go. But first, Malik dominated Giants cornerbacks daily to open training camp. This week, a new challenge came against the Lions in joint practices. Nabers proved that his success against his teammates wasn't a fluke, as he routinely torched the Lions cornerbacks in 2 practices. I feel like it's just an evaluation of what I can do and what I can't do, Nabers said, as I go out here and I show them that there is not a lot that I can't do. So as many times as I make plays, the more opportunities that will come my way. That's You got that right. I mean, you know, I mean, obviously you can try to double team him and this, that, and the other thing. But, you know, if he just keeps making plays, it's like, you know, it's just keep throwing the ball that way, you know. But also it's going to open up stuff for everybody else as well, too. I mean, that's what it did with OBJ. You know, when he's on the field, you know, he draws attention. You know, Jonathan Casillas mentioned that too. Big Blue Kickoff Live. I mean, it just opens up stuff. You know, I mean, and what he brought up is like you got Nabers on one side, right? I mean, you got to have somebody maybe underneath and somebody over Gaia, right? But then if you got Hyatt on the other side, who what was he? What 13 touchdown passes against Alabama? That one, I mean, 5, I guess. Yeah, but I mean, you know, you forget about him for a second, he's past you, right? Good luck. And then you got Wandale, right? I mean, thankfully, let's hope everything's healthy and he stays healthy and all that. You get that freaking dude underneath and whatever. Even ABCD Lamb was praising. He didn't put Wandale in his top 5. I understand. I wouldn't put him in the top 5 either. But I think ABCD was talking about, like, you know, I forgot whose podcast he was on, but he was talking. It was about, and they said, who's your top 5 wide receivers? And of course, he said, like, I guess he said him. I guess, obviously, you know, Hill and Jefferson, you know, and Chase. You know, I mean, you know, obviously, these guys are unfreaking believable. These athletes, unbelievable. I mean, all of them. I mean, they all have their own specials. I mean, it's just absolutely freaking amazing what these guys can do. But he didn't put Wandale in the top 5. And once again, I don't blame him. But he said, he says his routes are really good, really, really good. So, but I mean, we got, and then of course, then if you figure, if you consider, right, then you have Slayton, who is fast too, right? So that's a nice, nice 4. It's going to be very, who are we going to keep? They said Gunnar Olszewski, I think it was a kickoff. I think he said he took back to the house today. It's either punt or kickoff. That helps his cause. Isaiah McKenzie, right? You know, I'm sure they're going to want him, possibly, right? So I mean, if we're going to keep Gunnar and McKenzie, and we got, I said we got Slayton, and I'm saying, I mean, it's like we're only going to keep 6 wide receivers. Wow, that's a lot of good wide receivers we're going to be letting go. Wow. But we got some good wide receivers. Let's see, more opportunities will certainly come Nabers' way, as he is already established as the team's most dangerous weapon. Nabers made 4 catches Tuesday, highlighted by a 25-yard touchdown grab after beating Lions rookie cornerback Terrion Arnold on a fade route. The Giants' offense otherwise looked disjointed when the ball was not thrown to the explosive first-round pick. I'm just out here trying to compete at the highest point, make plays when I got the opportunity, continue to show my coaches that I'm able to play in this league, Nabers said. Nabers' impressive showing came to an ugly end when he pushed Lions safety Kirby Joseph in the face on his way back to the huddle. Now he pushed, here it is right here. Now he pushed him, but the guy came over and I think said, this is what he said. He said Joseph came over and said something to him. He said something I can't repeat. Then Nabers said, well, then it's on. Right. So he pushed him. So I think Malik did the first push or punch or whatever it was. After he failed to snag a fade route from Daniel Jones. Now I think this is the only incompletion he had thrown his way in these 2 joint practices. A nasty brawl ensued with Nabers and Joseph exchanging wild punches. So let's see. So what we got here? So the ball. Let's see here. So it was good. There's a guy standing in the way. I don't know who the heck this guy is here, but it was good coverage. I mean, it was a back shoulder. I mean, it would have been like darn near almost impossible to catch the ball. The coverage was very, very good. The guy was right on him. Tip your cap to whoever the guy was. And the ball was thrown behind Malik. Had to like twist himself around. The ball hit him in the hands, but outstanding coverage by the Lion guy. So then Malik falls down. The Lion guy falls like next to him. The ball comes skidding out of the end zone. Malik comes up, gets up, number nine. He goes, and damn, they just start throwing punches. So let's see, it's tough to see. I don't know, is that Campbell maybe? I don't know. It's some guys in the way here. It's tough to tell exactly what happened. But I don't know. Malik goes running, and the one guy looks like I don't know. Malik was running back to the thing, and the guy kind of like came by Malik, and Malik said he said something to him. So I don't know. Malik pushed him in the head, and then Malik kept going, and then the guy ran after Malik. Malik turned around, and then they just started throwing haymakers at one another. Kick his ass. Come on, Malik. Kick his ass, brother. That's it, bro. You got him, brother. You got him. Motor Singletary's in there throwing a couple punches. Good. Kick him. Bite his kneecap off, brother. But Nabers' competitiveness is unquestioned, but the Giants surely would prefer he uses his hands for catching passes instead of throwing punches at helmeted. It ain't going to take much to break a finger, break a hand. These bones ain't very big in here. Right? The fight sent practice off the rails after that. The fights that dominated Monday Spike had been curtailed. Nearly every play ended in a scuffle after that, and the final period of practice was scrapped as a result. So, and we got, unfortunately, we got some of the attendance here. Now, Booger Basham, he got carted off the field late in practice for heat-related reasons. That's what it says here from the Athletic. So that's cool. Good. Okay. I mean, obviously you don't want to cart it off the field, but it's not like Boogie Basham got carted off the field. Looked like he tore his ACL. He'll miss the next 17 years of his life. Yeah. Or it looks like he blew out his Achilles. Yeah. But it looks like possibly heat-related reasons. Okay, cool. That's something. We get some fluids in him or whatever. Maybe he'll be out a day or something like that, whatever. But as long as he's not injured. Awesome. Maine Hurts was a full participant after leaving Monday's practice early. Lawrence Cager with his hamstring. Stahl with his concussion. Toman Fox, his hamstring. Carter Coughlin with a lower body worked on the side with trainers. That group was joined by Evan Neal, hard to believe, who remains on a physically unable to perform list. Jalen Mills, the Green Goblin, who remains on the non-football injury list. John Michael Schmitz suited up, but he didn't participate in his 8th straight practice due to a shoulder injury. So thankfully, at least he suited up. Now it's the same shoulder as it was last year. The thing is that he missed a couple games, came back. Now, did that injured shoulder cause a problem with his performance the rest of the season? It's a little banged up now. Is it going to continue to stay banged up? I mean, at least we found somebody who is serviceable to take his spot. So, Van Roten apparently has been out there. So, another one of the reasons why we brought him in. Now, this is from the Lions' point of view on the practice here, because you like to get the other team's point of view too, because sometimes you get the have you ever read all the Giants guys that they kind of maybe be homers. Some of them like to be homers, and it's all about the Giants. Others, of course, how the New York media can be. Everything is negative. Daniel Jones throws an incomplete pass. He had a horrible day. He sucks. He's this. He's washed up. Get rid of the guy. kick him out of the league. He threw an incomplete pass. So some guys can be just very negative, but you like to get, both sides, right? So this is from the Lions. The Lions concluded their second joint practice with the Giants Tuesday, and next up is Thursday's preseason opener for both clubs. Ought to be freaking awesome. Not taking part in practice Tuesday, as had a couple guys. Kevin Zeiler, he didn't take part. He did not participate. Let's see here. Cornerback Mosley unfortunately suffered a severe pectoral injury Monday that's going to knock him out for a while. Wow. Ian Campbell said, yeah, a pec. Ooh. Wow. But once again, it is what it is. It was good to see cornerback Terrion Arnold back on the field Tuesday after he left Monday to be evaluated for concussion. So he was okay. The defensive pass rush drills. This guy, who is this? Who is this guy? This guy from the Lions here. Tim 20 men? Wow, okay. Not 30 men, not 40 men, but 20 men. I made it a point to watch the Lions defensive line versus the Giants offensive line and pass rush drills on Tuesday. There's not a lot expected of those guys up front for Detroit. And if this defense is going to be better in 2024, they have to lead the charge. I charted every rep and had the Giants winning 22. Giants won 16, and there were a couple of draws. So, by far the most dominant player by either team in the drills was the Lions defensive lineman Alim McNeil. I had him winning 3 of his 4 reps in dominating fashion by walking the offensive lineman right back into the quarterback now. He's looking for a new contract, so offensive linemen beware now. The interesting thing is, with this guy, McNeil, I don't know who he's going against. Was he going against a second stringer, a first stringer? I don't know who he went against. Let's see. Mostly keeping the peace after Monday practice, it was reportedly littered with scuffle after scuffle between the two teams. The peace was mostly kept until the very end, when there were some post-whistle skirmishes late. The first was punches thrown by Lions safety Kirby Joseph on Giants rookie wide receiver Malik Nabers. Aiden Hutchinson then got into it with the Giants right tackle on the next play. Following that, a guy named Levi, somebody got into it with some Giant offensive lineman. At that point, Campbell had enough and told Levi to get off the field. Levi had a sack in a team period and was pretty good on one-on-ones, but he's got to keep a calmer head about him or it will cost them in games. You got that right. Let's see. I mean, there was, All right, so that was some of the Lions. Now, this is from the Giants' point of view here. Takeaways and top. This is from Dan Solomon, Giants.com. The head coaches gave their thoughts on the first round of joint practices before the second one. It was certainly a spirited practice, man. The Lions' Dan Campbell said. You're going against a good football team. You're competing. It was a fun day. The Giants' Brian Dable said. Understatements aside, the two leading men, who can be very stated at times, had so much fun that they rolled the ball out again on Tuesday at the Quest Diagnostic Training Center. The respective teams won't meet again until Thursday's night, preseason opener at MetLife Stadium. Here's what happened on another heated day in East Rutherford. Malik Nabers has shown it in practice against his own team. Now he's shown it in practice against the defending NFC North champion. The next step is doing it in a live game. He's competitive, knows what to do, been playing at a high level in practice, Dable said. We'll see if that translates to the games. I have a lot of confidence in Malik. As an encore to his highlight plays from Monday, the 6th overall pick made a few more Tuesday and hold-in touchdowns from Daniel Jones during both 7-7 and 11-on-11 drills. Jones also threw a red zone touchdown to wide receiver Jalen Hyatt, who made a contested catch in the middle of the end zone. Drew Lock threw a pair of touchdowns, starting with a short pass that veteran wide receiver Gunnar Olszewski turned into a long catch and run. Olszewski certainly showed his skills as a return specialist on that one. Lock's second came on a nice play fake where he found wide receiver Allen Robinson in the end zone. Shortly after, Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan hit the tight end Adoree Jackson for a score. Takeaways. There weren't any. A day after Bobby Okereke jumped in front of a Jared pass during, I think it was 7-on-7 drills for an interception, the Giants defense was unable to take the ball away from Detroit on Tuesday. Top plays. Dane Belton, who was looking to lock down a starting safety spot next to Jason Pinnock, kicked off 7-on-7 drills in the red zone with the pass breakup. One thing I'll say for Dane is he's taken ownership of it, and he's fighting like hell to earn that job, defensive coordinator Shane Bowen said recently, which he should. It's his job to lose right now. It is his job to lose. Darnay Holmes prevented a touchdown with the breakup in the end zone early in a 7-on-7 work. Fellow cornerbacks Deonte Banks, Cordell Flott, and Nick McLeod also forced incompletions throughout the day. Turbo Miller showed his speed by getting to the edge and breaking on a long run. Yeah, there was a video of look, I don't want to say it was like a sweep or something like that, but it was a video from like the far down the field, from the behind the defense, right? And you're just like looking, and you can't see the guy, right? And all of a sudden, it's like, what's going on? It's going, and you see the defense kind of stretching it out, to the sideline. All of a sudden, Miller just pops up, and he turns the corner, and he's like gone. I think somebody would have gotten a hold of him, like maybe a little farther down the field. But boy, I'll tell you what, man, it was just like he was shot out of a cannon. If he got to that corner, right, and he turned that corner, he was like gone. I mean, it was just like, guy's fast. I mean, if he makes the team, it's going to be a fast football team. I mean, I'll tell you what, if you ever get a point in time, if he makes the team, even regardless if he makes the team, but if he makes the team, I mean, man, if you can have Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, Turbo, Malik Nabers, and Slayton on the field. I mean, if you got Turbo, say, in the backfield, you got 4 wide, you got Slayton, Hyatt, Nabers, and Robinson and Turbo, but you got some speed on the field. I mean, holy cow, Batman. I mean, the guy ran under a 4.3. Let's see here. Dable was asked today about the youth and the running back room behind veteran Devin Singletary. These guys have performed well when called upon, Dable said. And this will be an important preseason for all of them, which is true. Thibodeau, Burns, and Isaiah Simmons all notched would-be sacks. In addition, the whole defensive front could have been credited with a sack on another play where they encircled the quarterback. Defensive lineman Elijah Chapman and Ryder Anderson led the way. Matthew Adams, a linebacker, also made a nice play, physical play on a run stuff. So, I mean, there was good and bads. I mean, all in all, you got Paul Dottino, because he charts like everything, right? He's been with the Giants since 1983, I think it is. He gave a slight edge to the Giants today. Nothing major. The Giants did some good things. The Lions did some good things, but he gave a slight edge to the Giants today. I mean, it's what we do, but you just don't want him. He said, "No, man, we got outplayed." You don't want to hear that. So, but he did say one thing, and I think even Jonathan Casillas was saying the same thing too. It's kind of like in the red zone. The Lions did very well in the red zone. The Giants defense didn't look, had some issues. Certainly had some issues today. All right, and then I saw this. No big deal. Daniel Jones' much ridiculed $160 million contract might be a giant bargain. It might be. Yeah, you tell me we got a chance, huh? John Mara insisted last week that he's still happy the Giants signed quarterback Daniel Jones to the 4-year, $160 million contract last March. Sometimes it seems like he's the only one who's happy about that. He really shouldn't be alone on that, though. That contract, which was ridiculed as too rich for a quarterback like Jones almost from the moment it was signed, hasn't turned out to be the albatross many expected it would be. In fact, it has turned into something else for the Giants, quite possibly a bargain. Laugh if you want, but that is the way the much maligned contract looks just 16 months after Jones signed it. Maybe it wasn't at the time when a quarterback with just one good season was given one of the richest contracts in football. Now, let's not forget. I mean, his rookie season. I get it, but he had 24 touchdown passes, 12 interceptions in 12 games, threw 2 touchdown passes a game. Now, I get it. He had 342 fumbles. I get it. 12 interceptions. I get it. But 12 games, they say he played 13. He played like 4 snaps against the Dallas Cowboys when we were down 842 to whatever it was. He had a cup of coffee, but he started 12 games. In those 12 games he started, he threw 24 touchdown passes. Not too shabby. That's when Shurmur calling the plays, right? Shurmur's offense, 24 touchdown passes, 12 games. Unfortunately, Shurmur was gone at the end of the season because Shurmur was maybe a good signal caller, good offensive coordinator, maybe not so much of a good head coach because he had the same identical record, 9-23. His 2 seasons with the Browns, his 2 seasons with the Giants, he was 9-23. So he's not a good head coach. But Jones's $40 million per year average is only tied for 14th most at his position. And it'll drop a notch lower as soon as Dak Prescott gets his new deal that will surely be worth about $60 million per season. Now, to be fair, Dak's had some very good numbers. Of course, he can't win in the playoffs. But, every year it pretty much seems like he leads the Cowboys to 12 wins. He has some very good numbers. His numbers are usually better than Daniel Jones. So, so his $55-$60 million. So once Dak gets paid, Daniel Jones is, I guess, maybe the 15th highest quarterback. So he was right in the middle. There are now 8 quarterbacks making more than $50 million per year. That list includes Trevor Lawrence, who got a 5-year, $275 million deal from the Jaguars after throwing for just 21 touchdowns and 14 interceptions last season. And his career record is 20-30. And he's making, $55 million a year. 20-30. They didn't make it to the playoffs last year. 2 years ago, they went to the playoffs. Last year, they didn't make the playoffs. And they gave the guy $55 million a year. And includes Jordan Love, J Love with the special sauce, who got a 4-year, $220 million extension from the Packers after his first season. He starts one season. Let's give the guy $800 trillion a year. Okay. In fairness to them, Jones' best season, 20. Well, let's see. How many yards did he throw for? I mean, I don't know. Let's see. Let's go Daniel Jones. How many yards did he throw for? 2019. Let's see here. Let's get these stats up here. Here we go. Now his turnovers were off the chart. 3,000. Okay. But he threw for 3,027 yards in 12 games. He threw for 3,200 yards in 16 games. So basically in 12 games, he threw for about 250 yards a game. So if he played 4 more games that year, he would throw for an additional 1,000 yards. I'm just going at this rate. That's all it is, right? So in his rookie season, if he played every game, right, he would have at the rate the yards he averaged per game, he would have had almost about 4,000 yards throwing the ball, 32 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. Of course, he would have, once again, I know he would have had 497 fumbles. I get it. But, at the rate he was throwing in his rookie season, with some decent weapons, Saquon, Evan Ingram, Shepard was there. So we had some good weapons. Not phenomenal, right? But his rookie season, if he played all 16 games, he would have had 4,000 passing yards. He would have 32 touchdowns. So let's see. Let's see. And Jones can't possibly compare it to most of the top other quarterbacks on the list, but that's not the point. He doesn't really have to be because he's not paid like an elite quarterback. He's now paid. He's paid more than Derek Carr, who's making $37.5 million. He's making, Joe Burrow is getting $55 million. Jalen Hurts is getting $51 million. Jalen Hurts is giving everything. He's got Saquon Barkley, 2 top wide receivers, one of the best offensive lines in football. Yeah, let's see Jalen Hurts come to the Giants like a year or two ago. No offensive weapons, no offensive line. Let's see what he can do. He's overrated. In fact, if you take out Aaron Rodgers, whose deal and its $37.5 million average is an anomaly since he took a pay cut to help facilitate his trade to the Jets, Jones is at the bottom of the pay scale for experienced starters, just ahead of Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith. That's not elite company. In fact, financially, the bar to justify his salary is mediocrity. Yeah, that's true. That seems pretty achievable based on the last season when he was healthy and his offensive line wasn't constantly getting him killed. Whew, damn, it's a long, holy crap. Jeez. Wow. A long hurdle. But if Jones can stay on the field, the Giants would gladly take the 2022 version of Jones for their $40 million per season. And they believe that he'll improve on all his numbers. Well, he's got the weapons. Let's see. And if that happens, if Jones really does play at the high level he expects, he won't just be proving his worth. He'll be exceeding the value of his contract. It will only take a little bit of improvement over his 2022 season to make him underpaid. Ooh. And if that doesn't happen, or if he gets hurt again, well, the other beauty of the contract is the escape hatch is built in. The Giants can cut Jones after this season, and he'll leave only $22.2 million in dead money behind. That's not bad either for a starting quarterback halfway through his first big deal. No. So I mean, yeah. So I mean, yeah. There was, the way, Shane, wrote the contract, they can get out after 2 seasons. So. I mean, it is what it is. You love him, hate him, like the contract, hate the contract. You can get out after 2 seasons. So we'll have to wait and see. It's a big season for some people. Daniel Jones is one of them. Evan Neal, if he ever gets on the field, he's another one. So some big time stuff going ahead. So, but I mean, Daniel Jones, obviously he's $40 million a year, and everybody now is getting paid is just totally leap. He's at 40. Everybody getting paid. A lot of top guys, they're in the 50s, and of course, you don't know if it's going to happen, but you keep hearing Dak's going to get maybe $60 million. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but certainly Dak's going to get in the 50s. That's for sure, because it just seems like whoever gets paid 54. Well, the next guy comes up, oh, I want 55, and the next guy comes up, oh, I want 55.1. It's like, it's like, whatever happened, why am I going to give you 55.1? This guy's got 55. He's been in a Super Bowl. Just say, why am I giving you more than him? You haven't done as much as him. Why am I giving you more? I'm a little confused. I want more than him. Why don't you go win some Super Bowls or something? Then maybe we'll give you more. I mean, it's like, Patrick Mahomes, isn't. He's winning Super Bowls. He's not jumping up and down, pissing his pants and stuff like that because these guys are making more money than him. I mean, he had a 10-year, $450 million contract. But, all these guys are making more than these guys. A lot of these guys aren't even going to the Super Bowl. It is what it is. But the Giants, that now, obviously, with, what they're doing is each week letting out the next top 10 and their all-time player in the history of the New York Football Giants. So now that this week they've let out players 41 to 50. So, and they're working their way down. So apparently it seems like I guess 1 through 10 or whatever, however they're going to do it, is going to be let out on maybe the week of the starting week of football. So they're just every week they're letting out another 10. So now we're down to 41. to 50. So number 50, start off with Ray Flaherty. Now, very, very interesting person here. Of course, yeah, that's why you'll never see anybody in a New York Giants uniform wearing the number, because he's long gone. In fact, he was the first player ever in the history of the National Football League to have his number retired. He's also, this ain't Giant related, but it's also something else that, nobody talks about. But once again, because it is Giants related, but it's not. Hear me out. After his time, he was a good coach too. He was a very good coach. He coached the, I'm sorry if I offend anybody, the Washington Redskins. Sorry if I offend anybody. Actually, his first year of coach, he was with the Boston Redskins. That's where my story comes in at. But he was a very good, very, very good coach. He won. Back then, when the championship game started in 1933, from 33 to 46, in like the Eastern Division Conference, whatever it was, right? There was only two teams that went. It was either the Giants or the Redskins. No one else. Not till 1947. That's when the Eagles started rocking and rolling. The Eagles went 47, 48, and 49. So that's when, but from 1933, the first NFL championship game, the first official. There was a game the year before, because two teams were tied at the top, the Chicago Bears and the Portsmouth Spartans, who later became the Detroit Lions in 1934. But 1932, Portsmouth Spartans were 6-1-4. The Chicago Bears were 6-1-6. Now, the ties did not count. So basically, both teams were 6-1. So, they figured out to have, let's have a game head to head, and whoever wins, they'll be the champion. So 1932, there actually was a championship game, but that was just because two teams had the same identical record. They were identical. You see in the movie My Cousin Vinny, you'll know identical. You know what that means. Anyway. But as I said, from 1933 to 46, the only two teams from the Eastern Division Conference, whatever it was, that went to the championship game. That was the Giants and the Redskins. But anyway, after Ray Flaherty left the Giants in 35, he went to coach the Boston Redskins. Now, this is where my story comes in. This is the only time that I know of, right, where a team who had the home field advantage gave it up, right? Because back then, the reason why they were the Boston Redskins and the reason why in 1937 they became the Washington Redskins was because they're from New England, right? What do you expect, Boston? Right? If things are going good, like if in New England, if they're winning Super Bowl, woo, yeah, woo, we're great, woo, the people go to the game. But back then, right, in Boston, they had a hard time. They played in Fenway Park, had a hard time getting people to show up for games. And the reason why they gave up the home field advantage was because the gate receipts showed how much the guys made. Like the winning team won won a greater percentage than the losing team did. But the more fans that got into the game, the more money there was to be spread around to all the players, the winning and losing players. Well, if they had the game at Fenway Park, they were only going to get, so many thousand people there. So they gave up, Preston Marshall gave up, home field advantage. They had the game played in the Polo Grounds where they had more fans showed up. It was like 20, 25,000. I forgot exactly offhand. But it was more than what they were going to get if they played the game at Fenway Park in Boston. So they gave up home field advantage. They played the game in Polo Grounds. There's more fans there, and the Redskins wound up losing. So the Packers wound up being the champions. Okay, of 1936. It was 21-6, I think the score was. But because they had a larger crowd in the Polo Grounds, all the players, winners and losers, got a bigger share. Because there was more fans in there, but they gave up home field advantage to have it played in New York. But obviously, I said that's why in 1936 they were the Boston Redskins. 1937 they became the Washington, because he moved down to Washington, and the rest is kind of, as they say, history. But Ray Flaherty, very, very, he was like the before Don Hudson came around. Once Don Hudson came around, that freaking guy was just unfreaking believable. I mean, as far as a receiver. But before Don Hudson, there was Ray Flaherty. Ray Flaherty spent most of his playing career with the Giants, joining the team in 1929. In 1930, he left to coach the Gonzaga Bulldogs basketball team. Flaherty rejoined the Giants in 1931 and stayed with the team through the 1935 season. Now, interestingly, Flaherty was the one in the 1934, the sneaker game where the field was frozen at the Polo Grounds. He was the one who spoke of, he went to, spoke up and said, they had played a game one time in Gonzaga on a frozen field. And he said sneakers gave them a greater advantage because they had better job of gripping the ground and everything like that. So they sent Abe, the Giants' tailor, I believe it was, Abe Cohen, to Manhattan University where he worked at, and he either broke in or whatever. I've heard different stories, but he came back with a bunch of basketball shoes from the basketball team, and the Giants put them on. In the second half, they outscored the Bears 27-3, and they won the championship 30-13 in 1934. So Ray Flaherty was very, very instrumental in the Giants, because if the Giants did not get those basketball shoes, the sneakers, right? The sneakers game, right? If they didn't get the sneakers in the second half, they were not winning that championship game. That was not happening. The Bears were a phenomenal team that year. But Ray Flaherty was an outstanding end, was named all-first team, all-pro 3 times, inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1976. In 1932, Flaherty led the NFL in receptions, receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, yards per reception, and yards per game. He helped the Giants to an NFL championship in 1934. Ray Flaherty holds the distinction of the first professional football player to ever have his jersey number 1 retired by a team. After his playing days, he took over as the head coach of the Boston Redskins in 1936 and remained with the team with their move to Washington, where he won 4 division titles and 2 league titles. His league titles. They won the league title in 1937 and 1942. Those were the 2 league titles that the Washington Redskins won while Ray Flaherty was the coach. So, Ray Flaherty was a fantastic. I mean, obviously his number's retired. He's got to be on this list, right? Number 49, good old Spider Lockhart. And he was, well, when I was growing up, he was with the Giants. I think it was from 65 to 75. He did not make it to Giants Stadium in 76. 75, the Shea Stadium season was his last season with the Giants. But I started watching the Giants in 1970, and he was number 43. Willie Williams and him. But I more know him. He was my safety, number 43. Now, he was good. He had a lot of interceptions. He got burnt too. I mean, quite a few times. Bob Hayes burned him. The Giants defense was not very good. I mean, he came in 65, 66. We gave up over 500 yards. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. 500 points in 14 games. I mean, the Giants defense was not very good. Yeah. Spider, was not necessarily one of the reasons why, but we had poor defenses back then. But Spider, number 43, he's my man. He's my safety. Let's see. He's 6'2", 176 pounds. Carl Ford Lockhart gained recognition from pro scouts with his fierce ball-hawking style of play at the University of North Texas. He was drafted in the 13th round by the Giants, who defensive backs coach at the time was Hall of Famer Emlyn Tunnell. Let's see. Here we go. Tunnell, the Giants' all-time interception leader, would give Lockhart the legendary nickname Spider because he was all over the field and receivers like once. Spider went on to climb up to third place in the franchise record books with 41 career interceptions, 3 of which he returned for touchdowns across 145 games from 65 to 75. He was named to the Pro Bowl in 66 and 68 when he had a career high 8 interceptions. So let's say, following an injury-plagued 1975 season, Lockhart retired from the NFL and went on to have a successful career as a stockbroker. But sadly, in 1986, after a battle with cancer, he passed away at the age of 43, which was his number. The 1986 season, the championship season, the Giants paid tribute to Lockhart by wearing a spider patch on their jersey. So when you see, like especially in the Super Bowl, when you see the spider patch on their shoulder, it's 86. They're showing their due to Spider Lockhart, 43 years old. Unbelievable. I mean, now he'd be, my God. I mean, if he was still alive, he'd be in his 80s right now, because that was 40 years ago. So, but Spider, he's got to be on this list, absolutely. Then the next guy, it's got to be. Although this guy, his short career with the Giants, but what an impact he had. Shockey, drafted in 2002. It was the second or the third game to the end of the season of the 2000 season. He broke his leg against the Redskins. Sorry if I offended anybody by saying Redskins, but broke his leg against the Redskins, and he never played another down for the Giants. But, what an impact the guy had. The guy, he talked, he backed it up. He played hard. Sometimes it seemed like he played a little too hard because, we just try to run people over, stuff like saying like he maybe get nicked up or banged up a little bit sometimes, but man, what a, I mean, if you look at, especially in like 2006, right? We had Tiki Barber, we had Shockey, we had Monty Toomer, Plaxico Burress, Eli Manning. Holy, we had, and we had that offensive line. It was just a shame, I said, because Tiki retired after, and Tiki had been playing for a while, but he retired after the 2006 season. And I said Shockey made it most of the way through the 2007 season, and he never played ever again. Then, of course, the next season, Plaxico Burress accidentally shoots himself in the leg, and he never played for the Giants ever again. And then, of course, the Monty Toomer retired. So it was just, anyway, but good old Jeremy Shockey, man. Definitely, without question, he deserves to be on this list. Number 48. The next one, Sean Landeta, number 47. I mean, you just, of course, if you ever remember or see or whatever the highlights or whatever, the 86 championship game. I mean, what he was able to do in that wind, old Giant Stadium against the Washington Redskins, constantly able to either pin them down deep in their own territory or just, get the Giants out of trouble by getting punched through the wind right at him. He was able to drive them through the wind. Where the Washington, I can't remember who their punter was, it was just punt the ball, would just flutter up in the air and it'd go like whatever, 20, maybe 30 yards or something, not land down. I mean, now he had the Landeta whiff in the 85, I guess that would be divisional round against the Chicago Bears. Remember, it led to their first touchdown. We all kind of remember that one. But after that, Landeta, he was one of those weapons, especially later in the season. You got that wind whipping up in Giant Stadium. Landeta knew how to punt in there, and I know the other team's punters, had a hard time. Parcells often talked about hidden yards, but the punter position has been far from unnoticeable in Giants history. Indeed, 3 of the top 5 punters in NFL history in net yards have worn Giants uniforms. Now, of course, a lot of that has to do because the Giants offense usually blows and we're 1-2-3 punt and our punter's back on the field again, just kicking the ball. So Jeff Fiegels, Brad Maynard, and of course, Sean Landeta, who helped the Giants win their first 2 Super Bowls. But, also, let's not forget about Jennings too. I mean, right? Dave Jennings. I mean, he had a lot of punts as well too. Landeta played 21 seasons in the NFL, with the first 8.5 coming with the Giants in those 111 games with Big Blue. Landeta ranks second in franchise history in punts, 526, and net yards, 18,757. Wow. Let's see. He had 141 punts down inside the 20. He was named the first team All-Pro 3 times and picked the Pro Bowl twice with the Giants. Pro Football Hall of Fame voted Landeta onto the NFL's All 1980s and the All 1990s All-Decade team. In addition, Landeta has been named to the Philadelphia Eagles 75th anniversary team, the Rams 20th anniversary team, the St. Louis Rams 20th anniversary team, the USFL's all-time team, the NCAA Division II College Football Hall of Fame, the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame, and the Maryland State Sports Hall of Fame. So, I mean, guy was a heck of a punter. Heck of a punter. Then the next we got, hey, speaking of Plaxico Burress, number 46, Plaxico Burress. Now, he was, he was the one, definitely without question that really helped the Giants kind of get over the edge as far as, because what he can do on the one side, just his height, his length, and all of that. I mean, what he did in the 2007 championship game in Green Bay, how he just ate the Packers alive. I mean, I forgot, it was like 10 receptions, 11 receptions, something like that. They just could not cover the guy. He was what set the Giants over the top. I mean, and he did that in 2000, and we went on to win this, and it was without Shockey. And the season before, the year before that, we had Tiki. I mean, we had some phenomenal, really, and of course, let's not forget about Amani Toomer, the all-time leading reception in Giants history, right? But I mean, once we got Plaxico, it's like, it's almost in a way, not in a way, they're different guys, I get it, but maybe what Malik Nabers is going to be. You get that guy, the one guy, Plaxico can't do what Malik does. You know what I mean? But Malik's going to open things up. He's going to make, you know what I mean? But, what Plaxico did, I mean, it just, you try not to dwell on it. I try not to, because I want to jump out a window and kill myself if I do. But the Giants were the best team in the NFL when Plaxico was healthy in 2008. We went on the road. We won in Pittsburgh. We went on the road. We beat the Cardinals on the road. The two teams that went to the Super Bowl, we went into their house and beat them both. Giants were the best team in the NFL until, and then Giants just were not the same team without Plaxico there. Just not the same team. I mean, we had the one unbelievable win at the end of the season, which gave us the home field advantage when we beat the Panthers in overtime. What a freaking game that was. My God. But I mean, Ward went crazy running the ball. Oh, man. It was a great, great game. But that gave us the home field advantage throughout the playoffs, which, of course, for us only lasted one game because we wound up losing. But, I mean, just once we lost Plaxico, but we were the best team in the NFL that year. And shoots himself in the leg. It just, but anyway. Without question, Plaxico, the short time he was here with the Giants, I think it was 2005, 6, 7, and whatever, most of 8. But I mean, you can't talk about the Giants' history without mentioning that guy's name. Can't do it. So he has to be on this list. Rodney Hampton, number 45, without question, the first round selection in 1990. Of course, he got injured in the playoffs, which helped put Otis Anderson in the game against the Bears. Otis had his practice pants on. I think he had him taped up and stuff like that. And when Rodney got hurt, they said, "Otis, you're in." He's like, "What are you talking about? I already got my game pants on." So he runs in there with his practice pants on and everything like that. But Rodney, I mean, my God, I mean, just every year, 1,000 yards, 1,000 yards, 1,000 yards, 1,000 yards. I mean, what a fantastic. I mean, and he did it with multiple coaches, right? He did it with Parcells in 90, then Mistake at a Lake, Ray Hanley for 2 seasons, right? And then we got Reeves in there. So I mean, he did it with like 3 different coaches, right? I'm not sure what was. Let me see. I'm not sure, was he around? Let me see when Fossil came in here. Let me see here. Rodney Hampton. Let's see. Okay, pop his Pro Football Reference up there. Go down to his stats. Yeah, he made it there. But so he made it with Fossil. Let's see. 93, 94, 95, 96. I think Fossil came in 97. Rodney was there for 2 games, and that was it. That's all he played. So actually, Rodney made it for 4 coaches: Parcells, Hanley, Reeves, and Fossil. But his last season with Fossil, he only played 2 games. He only had, what do you have? 23 attempts for 81 yards. And that was it. That was the end of his career. But I mean, he had 1, 2, 3, he had 5 years in a row. He had 1,000 yards rushing, 5 years in a row. And in 1996, Reeves' last season, he had 827. He missed 1 game, but he had 827 yards. So I mean, he just a model of consistency. It's just a shame. Well, thankfully for him, obviously he got drafted 1990, so he was on a Super Bowl winning team. But after that, I mean, it was just, the 2 years we had with Hanley, 1993, Reeves came in. We went to the playoffs. We got blown out by the 49ers. I think it was 842 to 3. I think it was. Ricky Watters had like 17 touchdowns against the Giants. But at least he got in for a Super Bowl. I mean, just a model of consistency. He was just a workhorse. So glad he's on his list. Then, of course, we got Jack Stroud, another one of those unsung heroes, the offensive lineman for the Giants from the 50s into the 60s. Now, he was on 50, I think it was 53 to 44. I just looked up before I came on here, but from 53 to 45, from 1953 to 1964, 12 seasons he was with the Giants. So he was on the Giants' 56 championship team, the team, the 5 that didn't win, 58, 59, 61, 62, 63, those, but he was on all of those. But I mean, with Darrell Dess, Ray Whitaker, Roosevelt Brown, Stroud's definitely, got to be on it. Roosevelt Brown is going to be in the top 10. I mean, without question. Rosie Brown, our tackle from that era, has got to be in the top 10 of all-time Giants. But it just goes to show you, I mean, we had what we did with the 2007 team that, where we had Seibert and Deal and O'Hara and Snee and McKenzie, a lot of the same kind of thing back in the 50s and the 60s. We had a lot of the same guys and whatever, year in and year out, really good, solid players. And Stroud is definitely what, I mean, I know what we got. He made the Pro Bowl 3 times, 55, 57, and 60. He had second team All-Pro honors in 57, 60, and 62. So just a good number 66, good solid pick. Now number 43 is my personal favorite. And it's just because I'm an old time fart. My personal favorite, Bob Tucker. Number 38. He led the league. He's the first tight end ever to lead the league in receptions. 1971. That was the Giants were 4-10 that year. One of the we were not a good team, but one of the reasons why, not the main reason why he led the league in receptions, but I mean, I think it was just the NFC he led in receptions. I don't think it was the whole league. But it's because when you're losing, and you're 4-10, that means you're losing quite often. You're not, hey, we're down by, let's say, we lost 30-3 to the Redskins the second week of the season, right? Hey, we're down 30-3. Let's establish the run game. Maybe that'll open up the pass, right? No. You're down 30-3 to the Redskins the second game of the season at Yankee Stadium. Guess what you're doing? You're filling it, what I mean? So we lost a lot of games, and some of them weren't very pretty. So so we threw the ball a lot. So that was one of the reasons why. But He had 59 receptions in 71, 55 receptions in 72. Just, you know, he was a rookie in 70, right? And he played with the Giants till 77, and then he got traded to the Vikings, and he played from half of 77 to I think 80 with the Vikings. The problem was he got traded to a good team. The Vikings, unfortunately, the Vikings were on the decline because he got traded to the Vikings in 77. Unfortunately, the last time they went to the Super Bowl was in 1976. So in 77, 78, 79, and 80, they didn't go to the Super Bowl. They went to the Super Bowl 69, 73, 74, and 76. So when he got traded to the Vikings, they were still a good team, but they just never made it to the Super Bowl. They went to the playoffs. But at least he went to a good team. He went to he didn't go to a playoffs with the Giants from 1970 to 77. No playoffs with the Giants. They only had 2 winning seasons during that time. But at least he finished his career with a good team. But he's number 38. He's always be my favorite tight end. He'd catch the ball. There's my phone. He'd hold it like a loaf of Jewish rye. He'd catch it. He always had pretty good hands. But he'd catch it. He'd run around like this, holding the ball out here, like waving it around, and just one time I remember in a game in 1970, the 13th game of the season against the Cardinals, he was running. They don't do this nowadays because you get yelled at, but they did it back then. One of the times he was, it was a big game against the Cardinals. The Giants had to win to keep their division hopes alive, and they wound up winning. But he caught a pass, and he started running, and he got like 5 yards or so, and he was just about ready to get tackled. And as he was getting ready to get tackled, he flipped the ball to Don Herman, who was off to the side wasn't too far away, maybe 6, 7 feet away. So he flips the ball to him. Don Herman catches it and runs in for a touchdown. I mean, they really don't do that nowadays because you get yelled at. But he was my favorite tight end. So I'm really, really happy he's on this list here. Then we got number 42, Pete Gogolak. So we got 2 guys left. Pete Gogolak, the all-time leader in the Giants' history as far as points. I mean, from 66 to 74, he was the Giants' kicker. I started watching the number 1970. So 70, 71, 72, 73, 74. First 5 years I watched Giants football. Number 3. You see, you had the number 3 on the helmet right here, the single bar face mask. He was my kicker. He made it to the. I don't know. I'm not sure if Orange Parker cut him or exactly what happened in 75, but he made it to the preseason of 75, but he never made the team. George Hunt, a straight-on kicker. The Giants brought him in, and he kicked 1 year for the Giants in 1975. But so Pete Gogolak actually made it to the preseason of the 75 season, but he just never wound up making the team. But interesting thing with talking about Ray Flaherty with numbers getting retired. The Giants in 1938, they had a guy playing for him from 1931 to 1937, Len Grant, wore number 3. I'm probably gonna get it wrong. I think it was August 12th, 1938. He was at his home. It was either, I think it was in it was one of starts with an M. I'm an idiot. It was either Maine or Massachusetts, his home. Before the season started, he was playing a round of golf. There was a storm coming. He took cover from the storm. I guess it was probably by a tree. You kind of know where I'm going with this. He got struck by a bolt of lightning and he died. Well, the Giants retired his number 3. Fast forward about 30 years, 1966 rolls around. The Giants went into the AFL and they plucked Pete Gogolak, which was a no-no back then. Kind of was like an unwritten rule, the AFL and NFL. You don't touch our players, we won't touch your players. Well, the Giants went in and they touched one of their players. They got Pete Gogolak. Well, Pete Gogolak wanted the number 3. So they unretired Len Grant's number, and they gave it to Pete Gogolak. And Pete Gogolak used number 3. And the weird thing is that Ward Cuff was number 14 for the Giants. His number was retired. The Giants traded for Y.A. Tittle in 1961. He wanted number 14. Wellington Mara agreed, and they unretired number 14, right? They gave it to Wyatt Tittle. Wyatt Tittle played 61, 62, 63, and 64. After 64, they retired. He retired number 14 again for Ward, Cuff, and Wyatt Tittle. So you'll notice that, the Giants have, I think, 13 numbers retired with 14 players. Let me say 1, 4, 7, 10, 11, 14, 16, right? 23, 40, 42, 50, 56, and some guy by the name of Michael Strahan. So we got 13 numbers with 14 players retired. But the thing is, when they unretired Len Grant's number 3, they gave it to Pete Gogolak. After Pete Gogolak, didn't play no more for the Giants, they kept the number 3. And as you saw with Shep wearing number 3, right? So it was weird because after Ward, Cuff and Wyatt Tittle, they retired the number, but with number 3 they kept it up. They unretired it and then they kept it open. So it is what it is. But number 3 was retired for a guy named Len Grant. But when Pete Gogolak signed for the Giants in 1966, they brought the number back into play. And Pete Gogolak had it, and it's been in play. Number 3 has been in play ever since. But Pete Gogolak, definitely, without question, the league, the Giants' all-time leader in scoring points is got to be on this list, and he is. So good for him. And then last but not least, Bart Oates. It was, I think, he came from the USFL. And I think I was listening to it. There's a video out there. I think it's Giants.com, whatever it is. They did a video and they just put it out because he played for the USFL. Now the USFL used to play, I guess it was like the summertime, I believe it was. So the Giants got Bart Oates in 1985. Well, 1985, between the Giants, I guess maybe they're talking also maybe preseason games as well as preseason as well as playoff games and all that stuff and everything. Apparently he played, and you could look this up. He played in 43 games, 1985. 43 between the USFL and the NFL. He was tired at the end of this. He was. Sean Landetti, same thing, Sean Landetti was talking to him, was talking about that toward the end of the season in 1985. How you holding up, man? He said, man, I'm beat. 43 games he played in 1985, but he's the only Giant offensive lineman that's on the 86 and the 90. He was the center for both those championship teams for the Giants, Super Bowl 21 and 25. Then after he left the Giants, he played, not only played in USFL, he played for the Giants. Then he went to San Francisco, and in 1994, after the 94 season, they won the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was in 1995, but the 1994 San Francisco 49ers are the Super Bowl champions. So he won a Super Bowl with the 49ers. So in 86 and 90, he won a Super Bowl with the Giants. In 1994, he won a Super Bowl with the 49ers. So without question, we had some really good, obviously very good, tough offensive linemen back there, but he's the only one that was on the 86 and the 90 team. Unlike the 2000 team, the 2007 and 2011, we had a couple guys that were on both, but Bart Oates was the only one. We drafted a center, Brian Williams, in 1989 from Minnesota. Then, of course, we drafted some guy, John Michael Schmitz, a center from where? Minnesota, right? Something about there must be something about the water. They have nothing but centers that come from Minnesota, very good centers. But we drafted a center, Brian Williams, in 1989, that the first round pick to become a center. Well, he couldn't be. He wasn't the center. He couldn't be. He wasn't the starting center for the Giants until after Bart Oates left. So Bart Oates was just that good. He not only did he was the center, but he was also the long snapper as well too. He was just a phenomenal. Let's say, what's it say? We'll say how many times maybe he was the What do we got here? Let's see. Oates played 151 games as a Giant, including 11 postseason contests. He earned 3 of his 5 career Pro Bowls with Big Blue. So he had 5 Pro Bowls. In turn, Oates and his fellow suburbanites were relentless on the field, making his way from the USFL. Oates helped the Giants claim their first Super Bowl titles in franchise history in '86 and again in '90. He was fantastic. I mean, really, we don't know how lucky we are when we got that. It was kind of like with O'Hara too, right? We got him from the Browns. It's like who's this guy? No. Rest is history. Sean O'Hara, led us to the 1 Super Bowl. Fortunately, he didn't make it to 2011. But when we got O'Hara, man, we don't know how lucky we had it. Same thing with Bart Oates. We got him from the USFL, and I'm like, why don't we get some guy from the USFL for what the we want this guy for? Can we get somebody? But guy was freaking good, really, really good. It was a great pickup. So that's that 41-50. So I guess the next 4 weeks they'll put out the next 10. So next week I guess they'll have 31-40, and we'll see it from there. But there's some real good selections here. Now with me, it's I ain't gonna argue. Well, why is Bob Tucker number 42? He should be at least number 40. One guy's number 45, one's 44. I have no problem with that. But I'm interested to see who the rest of the people are on this list. But so far, they've done a really, really good job. All right, guys, been 1 hour and 21 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. It really does. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.